Alrighty then, ladies and gentlemen, we are here for the fourth round of the ARC GT3 Championship, not Challenge. And that will take us to the final round of basically our North American tour, Road America, in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Technically my home track, but I really wish it wasn't, because I really suck here normally. Red One is the first driver to enter the racing surface. And then immediately leaves it. Alright. Luis looks a little lost over there. And so back to the status quo. Francisco Alonso is the first one that's really making progress around the track. Qualifying here is always a bit of a time crunch. Laps here are well over 2 minutes long. So, at best, you're going to get 4 tries. Under any other circumstances, this track would be an absolute nightmare for keeping your left front tire from overheating. However, because we're racing in winter, in Wisconsin, the American Midwest, that's not really going to be that much of an issue, and instead the problem is going to be keeping your right side tires warm. And of course, the reason that the left side is so difficult is because of this carousel. Excuse me, my voice is trying to warm up a little bit. I haven't talked much yet today. This carousel will absolutely annihilate your left front tire if you let it, and it might still be able to do so even with the cold track conditions. Francisco Alonso not too far away from taking the green flag to start the first time lap of the evening in his Ferrari. He's very good at that. As I say, it's the status quo. It always seems like he's the first person to leave the pit lane and get a lap underway. Road America is an interesting circuit. It's one of the longest ones, period, and probably like one of the longest in the calendar. But it's not very wide. Turn 1 is generally a single lane, as Francisco has to catch the car through there. Turn 2 is pretty much the same thing. One line. Don't touch that inside curb, or really, most curbs at this track are really unpleasant to run over. A lot of them will just grab your car and throw it like a football, or any other object that is commonly thrown around. Heavy braking for turn 3. Up the hill to Corvette Corner, where you tap the brakes going up the hill. This basically kink with extra steps, which is not flat out in spite of appearances. Not in this car or any of these GT3s, but maybe in something like an LMP1 it would be, I'm sure. I don't remember the name of that turn, and then up to the infamous carousel, which Francisco has really gone into wrong. Still made an okay exit, but not the ideal run through the carousel. The kink, which Francisco actually braved using the curb to rotate his car through the kink. That's not really a common tactic, and that's likely to bite you in the butt later. Canada Corner, which I say is generally one of the better, probably the best overtaking spot on the track. Then navigate the shadows of the forest through the last couple of turns to complete a lap of this 4-mile-long circuit. And we'll see what this turns into for the Ferrari driver. The first one of the day was about average. It's an okay benchmark of 2:08.6. I don't think that's going to stand on the top for too long, just given the pace of many of our other drivers. And oh yeah, there it goes. 207.1 from Dylan Bam. A bit of today's news is that Champ Inc. has finally understood their ways, their incorrect ways of continuing to try and develop that Lamborghini in reverse. They are now driving the Porsche GT3 alongside Ridwan's team. So I don't really think that's a whole lot more stable than the Lamborghini, but I guess it might be just a new platform that they needed rather than a new handling style. Jurgensmeyer with a 209.4. Donald Stern makes his return to ARC GT3 after a considerably long absence. He's in the 53, in what is essentially just that revolving door of Ferrari drivers. Like, this is like the 7th different Ferrari driver we've had this season, and only like 3 of them are actually full-time. Matthew Daly is in a 210.1. Somebody spun off the road there. Not sure who that was. It looks like it was Logan based on context clues. And then there's, I believe that's Matthew Daly spun on the exit there. That doesn't look right. No, it's not right. The car has been smacked a little bit. Other than the new the new cars for Champ Inc. and Donald Stern making his return, also Travis Fedderskendorp making his return. He missed the first 2 rounds. There he is. He will be driving the 74 car, which is supposed to be on this car's team, so it should have been like the 87 or 88. Oh, that's a spin. I think you locked the brakes or something there. Interesting that Deshaun Davidson elects to race without ABS turned on. Donald Stern finds 6/10, jumps over Jurgensmeyer, but will get no higher for the moment. Chicken Nichols in the pits. This qualifying session hasn't gone the way it was intended to. Did I miss something here? Okay, apparently Conga Line is now in the 73 and 74, because here's Justin Rott, no longer driving a Ferrari. He is in an AMG... Oh, 74 and 75. Excuse me! Wrong guess. Yeah, the 74 and 75 AMGs, so to bring that up to 5 AMGs on the grid now. Conga Line were always slated to be in these cars, just that they never had drivers before today. Excuse me, just spit everywhere. My apologies. Got literally everywhere. We're coming down to the last couple minutes here from this session. How did the car stick there? That was obscene. Connor Hannick found a 209.2, also finding the grass. Travis with a 209.9. His session is at an end. Some big hitters near the back still. Matthew Daly is not going to get any higher than P7 on the grid. And that's assuming that he's not toppled by anybody else before the session is over. I don't know. I don't think AJ is on a lap. I think this is his out lap, so he's going to have just over a minute to, you know, navigate half the circuit. So his out lap is going to have to be at full speed, just about. Francisco Alonso, still on track, trying to do anything about that 207.1 from Bam. Bomb. It's Bam. My brain. I always have to second guess myself, but I know what the correct answer is. My brain just like, are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. Up to the line comes the 488. He will have another chance after this if he wants, which is a good thing because that was an out lap anyway, so. Donald Stern returns to the pit lane with a 208.9. So he is accepting that lap time. Connor Hannick is on a... Oh no, that is not a flyer, but he's not going to get back around in time. Because the session has now ended. And and this man is only on an outlap, so I think a bit of an error as Dylan Bam is spinning through the grass ahead of Hannick, but I don't think that'll matter because I don't really know that anybody is on the track that can really contest him. AJ didn't get around in time. He will start from 9th, which is quite a shock considering 44R have been nigh untouched thus far this season. So this is basically the first showing of vulnerability, at least for AJ Knickel. Matthew Daly had an run last week at the feature race in we were just there. How did I forget what track it was? Wow. Brain. Come on. Daytona. Francisco Alonso is on the track, though. He's still trying to at least secure second. I don't know if he has to try too hard to do that. He's not really got a whole lot of competition for it if AJ's run is over and everybody between him and AJ are in the pits. Dylan Bam might be on a lap, but I don't think that matters. He's not. And with the run through Canada like that, I don't think we're going to be seeing him topping the speed charts here. Speed charts, that's not the terminology used in GT3. Yeah, he's been yelled at to let off, probably, based on that run. And he's just going to bring her into the pit lane to end his session. Red One completes his run at 2:11.8, will be his final lap. Gabe is done. Luis Ramirez is also not at full speed, so I think the session is effectively over. A very just upside down qualifying here. We've got Luis Ramirez with a 2:29.9. He never got a representative lap on the track. It seems it's all over the place. Donald Sturm gets a 4th in qualifying on his return, but I think track limits and these curbs here at Road America have played havoc in this qualifying session, and only Dylan Bam and the rest of the top 4 really were able to cope with that fact. Very, very interesting. I was going to look at the points while we were in this screen. There really isn't anything to look at. The first real battle is for 3rd in points between our front row sitter Francisco Alonso and then Connor Hannick. 3 points separated. And then a tie in points for 5th between Ridwan Hamza and Logan Cool, who are starting next to each other on the grid in 10th and 11th, respectively, after Logan got a grid penalty for some pit lane problem. Hopefully we don't have 5 DSQs for that sort of thing like we had from Daytona. I would prefer if people were able to finish the race this time. Or if they don't finish the race, at least DNF from an exciting and a good crash, you know. Got to entertain the bloodthirsty motorsports fans out there because we all know there are plenty of them. I think we all were one at one point. Everyone was at one point some kid that thought it was cool seeing the cars fall apart. Growing up is when you start to not like seeing people crash. Or at least that's one part of it. But in the world of stupid racing games, go ahead and wreck all the cars you want. Donald Stern is left of the chat. Okay, so that was either we're just not restarting for it, or that was an intentional choice to leave. So Dylan Bam, oh yeah, there we go, disconnected. So Dylan Bam is your pole sitter. I feel like I've said this before. I feel like I've made that joke that I've said this before every time as well. Francisco Alonso will start P2. He's had quite the hot hand when it comes to qualifying. He just needs to put a race together, and he could score even more podiums than the one he scored last week, as following a bunch of penalties distributed between different drivers near and in the podium, the result at Daytona completely got flipped around and ended up with a Logan Cool podium result, which was certainly a thing to read. If I can find that post. Yeah. AJ got... Okay, no, so Francisco's position did not change. AJ won, Francisco got second. He got penalties, but they were not enough to remove him out of second. Logan Cool was credited with third place, Justin credited with fourth place, Matthew fifth, Gabe sixth, so on and so forth. So he did maintain the double podium, so ignore that part. Jurgensmeyer starts in third, presume teammates to Francisco Alonso, so 2-3 for Yodank, I think. P4 for Connor Hannock. Travis Van Oostendorp, on his return to the series, he starts P5 in the other Mercedes. Matthew Daly, P6. P7 for Justin Rott, so AMG basically 5, 6, 7, 8, because here is AJ Knickel, who already has some description of penalties for complete and utter bullcrap. Ridwan Hamza starts in 9th. Logan Cool, 10th. Gabe Cazola, 11th. Luis Ramirez, with a polar opposite qualifying session to how his teammates went, starts in P12. Deshaun Davidson starts in last after making no valid lap times. As everyone roams through the dark forests outside and around the Canada corner of turn 11, I believe. I'm surprised we doubled up this early. It seemed to do that. I figured they were going to do it out of Canada corner, but maybe it's better we didn't, because I can't see a darn thing. The HDR rendering on the PS5 makes the shadows in that area really brutal to try and see. It's like trying to find the apex of that last left-hander is like Dora the Explorer. Do you see the apex? Where? I don't know. I'm just guessing. But what I do see is our 13-car grid, as Luke was about to point out in the chat there, make its way slowly up the hill. Dylan Bam may floor it when he pleases. And we are green from Road America here in the sprint race. He went pretty early and got the jump on the two Ferraris. They will be side by side heading towards turn 1, which is pretty narrow. So that's a terrifying prospect. And oh my god, Francisco Alonso has been absolutely decimated into turn 1 by one of the Mercedes. That must have been Travis. And there's chaos in the back. More Mercedes are around. Two cars spinning. Probably got hooked together and collected Cazola as a result. That is a safety car, as we've had two separate incidents of at least 2 cars apiece. I said it was narrow. I definitely said that. So we had Travis sending Francisco Alonso to the Shadow Realm, and then we had what I believe was Justin Rott and AJ Knickel, two drivers who definitely have a little bit of a rivalry, so that's going to be fun to be a part of later. Getting connected, but AJ ends up in 4th even after spinning out, so he really must have gotten that thing recovered pretty quickly. We did not get very far. We got to the bottom of the hill, and then we were told to bring it down. These lap 1 safety cars are always a bit awkward because there's nothing to talk about on the run around the safety car. And safety cars here are going to be so long because this is already a 2-minute 10-second lap time on average. at racing speeds. But if you're only doing 60 miles an hour all the way around the track, this is going to be like a 5-minute qualifying, a 5-minute caution lap. I'll be here all night. I haven't eaten yet. I suppose I couldn't really tell exactly how many cars crashed because the camera was intent on showing me the side of a hill instead of the chaos of vehicles spinning out. Yeah, that was indeed chaos. It was just yeah, I was saying that earlier. Champ Inc., tired of spinning every 5 turns in the Lamborghini, have now gone to the Porsche, which personally, if my objective is to avoid spinning out randomly, avoid snap oversteer moments, I feel like the Porsche is basically the worst decision you can make, considering rear engine. Like, it's just gonna get worse, I would think. But I guess what it really is that it might just be like they just wanted a new platform. Like they had just, their setup tweaking on the Lamborghini had gotten so far out of line that they didn't even know what the car was anymore, I think. I think we're going to see quite a few takers into the pit lane here. Just a suspicion, that's the word. Knickel, Hannick, Cazzola, Van Oostendorp, Alonso, Ramirez, Cool, half the field as the pit here. And that's not even to speak of the people that maybe didn't pit despite damage. Only 6 cars staying out. 3 of them are AMGs, including Matthew Daly. Yeah, the Porsche is not better, but I guess. He got pole with it, but Dylan Bam has been very good at taking poles and then not getting anywhere with them. So I don't really know how much that means. But if it's a brand new platform to work off of and you can kind of tune things in the correct direction, any car can be good, with exceptions. I don't know how much you can really get out of the Nissan or the Cadillac. It remains to be seen because nobody has tried. Same with the SLS. The Aston Martin and other cars like it are difficult to get things out of, but we've seen Conor Hannick drive that thing well. I drove the Z4 to relative success a few seasons back. AJ had been saying repeatedly that if he lost this championship, he would try something crazy with the Cadillac. Yeah, no, it really couldn't get worse. But I'm just like, if you were trying to avoid spinning, I would have probably gone, I don't know, take the last 2 McLarens that were open. And there's one more car I'm thinking of that's stable. The Renault is pretty stable more often than not. But no, they went with the car company that gets commonly clowned on for having oversteery cars if they're not literally built for racing, and even the ones that are built for racing are pretty easy to get to snap if you're an amateur. I'm not saying Dylan is an amateur, I'm just saying he spun a bunch of times in a Lamborghini. Same thing. In the Lamborghini, I don't see how he wouldn't spin a bunch of times in a Porsche. But, he hasn't spun yet, so I'll just keep my mouth shut until the other shoe drops. Of course, he hasn't spun yet is relative. We've made 1 corner on green flag conditions. I guess he made 2, but still. We should be able to go green this time. Only 1 vehicle is not with the train, and that is Ramirez. He will get here at the last second. His car looks absolutely demolished. The game clearly did not sync the damage repair up there at all. But final turn, Ramirez has arrived. This car looking less like a Porsche and more like Herbie after a little too many drugs. But, up the hill we travel, and we are green once again. Let's see if we can maybe get to the hairpin this time around. And he is well clear at the start-finish line. No real contest between him and Juergensmeyer. There is one, however, for this position. Ridwan trying to out-drag and outdo Justin Rott. Contact nearly made in half the field wide at turn 1, but that's better than crashing. And into turn 2. This time we are looking a lot more clean. Never mind, as Travis runs Deshaun Davidson way out of room and into the grass. I had said Herbie, like the bug, but Kirby also applies, I suppose. Porsches are round enough in their design, I would say. You've made it to Sector 2, folks, but somebody's rear wing just got jettisoned. That is Justin Rott's. I believe he was tapped in the back by Gabe Kazzola, and now that thing is going to be a nightmare to control. Off he goes into the grass. Yeah, there's not going to be any grip left in that car at all. AJ will seize the moment. He'll be in 7th, up behind the 55 of Kazzola. Logan Cool is in the absolute chaos, running 9th ahead of his teammate. There goes Luis, off to find Atlantis or something. He's trying to redesign the circuit. Matthew Daly is stalking Ridwan as we head up towards Canada Corner. Might be looking for maybe an overtake. That Porsche's no slouch in a straight, though. But it's not enough. Ridwan must have gotten a better run through the kink there. A bit of off-roading for Kazzola. Don't get ahead of yourself. Rallycross isn't for a little while, if we even get that far, Cabe. Cabe Kazzola. Yes, that is absolutely not his name. Oh, there's the curbs doing their magic, making Gabe nearly spin out on exit. And that is easy pickings for our 6-time winners so far this year. But it's not so easy. Never mind, it is so easy. Got into 6th gear and the Ferrari ran out of power. But the AMG does not do such things. Limitless power! Ridwan, despite losing out on 3rd to Matthew Daly, he's kind of hanging with the group here. He's in 4th, currently running from Alonso, who's recovered pretty swiftly, considering he got absolutely demolished into turn 1 at the start of the race initially. Although I guess it could just be that he didn't lose so many places, because he didn't pit, despite getting rear-ended really strong. What? Matthew Daly is off the circuit. That's going to lose him quite a bit of places. And we're getting near the end of the race where you don't want to be losing positions. Already we're getting near the end of the race. It seems like we just started, because we basically did just start. As is just the way of a sprint race. How the heck? AJ gets into 4th through the carousel of all places. Ridwan just could not resist. Well, actually, it's his teammate to P8. I think Logan let him by. And Hannick will attempt to get around Matthew Daly. Won't be easy with all of the straights here at Road America. We do have 3 pretty long full throttle runs that the AMG can stretch its legs at. And the McLaren, its legs are pretty stubby. So he spins once a race, but he's coming back at Gabe. He's going to get 6th unresisted because he's in an AMG and Gabe's in a Ferrari. The speed difference is still just jarring to me. Like, yeah, the AMG is faster in a straight line, but I didn't really realize it was that much faster. And yet here we are. It's literally a dragster, but with cornering. That's just not even fair. I wonder if they're planning a kind of like a Bottas-Hamilton concept where, oh, if Connor can't get any higher than P8, he'll give Logan the P8, but also, like, I mean, Connor is like 3rd in points. Logan's 5th in points, but still like 17 behind Hannick. I don't really see why that would be the case. 3-car train, basically bumper to bumper, the trio here of Ridwan, Daly, and Gabe. Got a bit of a peek at that corner, but that's just wishful thinking, to say the least. It's all about that exit. Get through the carousel, get through the kink, and just annihilate your opposition heading towards Canada. Just to let off through the kink, though, that's going to really harm his run. Speaking of harming his run, and Gabe Cazzola is kicking up some dirt over there on the exit of the kink. It's very easy to just not have the grip you expect and run off there. Nothing doing in Canada. The Porsche is not like the Ferrari. It is certainly going to put up a fight in a straight line, even against the almighty AMG. It's a good exit for the AMG driver. Could have a chance at Ridwan here. That Porsche is really impressive in a straight. I really didn't know it had this in it, but a little bit of a defensive stroke, but oh, he's gonna get away. He's gonna survive. If Ridwan can just maintain decent lines. Oh, that's not gonna help. A bit of oversteer from the Porsche. Porsches will be Porsches, and that will give Matthew the spot right there. All it took was one little bit of weakness, and suddenly, decimation. Why is that my word of the day? I don't know where decimation came from, but apparently that's just my favorite word. Yeah, I mean, I'm not really surprised by anything. The fact that he's finally gonna lose, possibly, if Dylan can keep it on the black stuff today. He's apparently found something in the Porsche, and by something, I mean stability. And that's really all he needed, was just stability. He's on the podium, but he's going to have to work a lot harder to get any higher than that. Meanwhile, it is still very close for 6th. Ridwan is struggling to stay above ground here. He's just getting overtaken at just constantly. Yes, that is the word I was looking for. Matthew got him at the start of this lap. He's getting back away from Cazzola, though. And Gabe is now under threat from Connor Hannick in the McLaren. The battle of no straight line speed. So it's going to be cornering, grip, and braking that settles this battle. Or it's going to be Gabe staying on the racing surface that will settle it. That'll also do the trick. I don't know how the stewards haven't screamed to this guy. Oh, Ridwan went off. That's a weird place to spin, I'm not going to lie, but Ridwan is off the circuit. That demotes him to 8th, but he will be safely there at the very least, because Logan is back here, 17 seconds away. Not really any threat to take 8th away from Ridwan, unless something dramatic happens and the car gets destroyed, pretty much. Right on board with Hannick on this final lap as he attempts to find some weakness in Gabe Cazzola and exploit it to grab P6, the last gasp here. Elsewhere, there is possibly a battle between Francisco Alonso and AJ Canickle, but I think that settled itself back out. I think that was just a slow corner for AJ that he recovered with a faster one later. Connor just used the grass. They're both wide at the kink there as we head towards the carousel little by little. Again, it's just an exit game. Get out of the carousel and get out of the kink, and you can just work on it into the Canada corner. And mechanic nearly full throttle through the kink. I think that's pretty doable in some cars, but not all. You have to have a peek, a desperate look here. Try the outside if you got it. Gabe leaves the inside open, but Connor can't get the McLaren to go there. And Dylan Bam, a return to form finally, and a bit of a change of scenery at Champ Inc. will grant him his first fruit win of the season. It'll be Jurgensmeyer second and Ken Nickel third. A recovery drive after getting spun on lap 1. Francisco Alonso P4. I would ignore that penalty. I think that was obtained from the formation lap. Nothing that AJ could do about it. Good, excuse me, I was not ready to get on there, I was just stretching. Matthew Daly P5, Gabe Gazzola P6, Hannick P7, and Redwan will get the reverse pole, finishing 8th place. Logan Poole 9th, 10th for Deshaun Davidson. Travis Van Oostendorp's car is destroyed, and he will come across in 11th in reverse. Luis Ramirez, P12, very distantly. His car still looking absolutely shattered. And Justin Rott got his wing clipped, and he finishes a lap down in dead last. I'm interested to see the aftermath of that. I'm not 100% sure who hit him. I want to say it was Gabe. And there's the sprint round in the books. Although this leaderboard really isn't representative of anything. First and second are right, but I'm pretty sure that those 20-second penalties will be axed. No person from upstairs. We cannot go to commercial. Although that might not be the worst idea. I should probably talk to AJ about that. Instead of having the sponsors be plugged at the end of the stream, maybe plug them in between the sprint and feature. It could work, actually. So, a 14-lap feature race. Hopefully this time AJ does indeed turn off qualifying, which he has, so. Deshaun Davidson, I do believe, yeah, he has a conflict in another league, so he only runs the sprint. Thing with this podium is that if I'm AJ, I'm not really that upset about it because neither of the two that finished ahead of AJ in that round, Jurg nor Dylan, really got a whole lot. Like Jurg missed a week, missed the Laguna Seca round, I do believe, after claiming he would never race on this game again. And Dylan has just been floundering around every week. So his sudden victory really does not put any sort of dent in AJ's almighty, 38-point lead in the championship already. And he beat Matthew Daly, who's the only one that's really close to him. That was certainly a transition. Ironically, the randomized grid put Ridwan where he has to be. This is taking a minute. Well, it can only take 2 minutes before the game tells you to go away, so... Any minute now. There we go. Oh, this time it is Gabe that disconnects right from the get-go. And we are not resetting for that either. So yeah, Ridwan is sprint pole sitter. And then it is Hannick, so the the two people not from North America will be on the front row here. Or I guess from the Americas, because Luis is from Venezuela. I don't remember where Francisco Alonso is from. I should know, but I don't. Third, it will be Matthew Daly. Fourth will be Francisco Alonso. Knickel is fifth. Oh, Jurgensmeyer's sixth. Oh, because Gabe is gone. That's why. Logan Cool will start in seventh. That's Logan Cool, huh, Riker? I mean, I get their names have the same number of letters, but come on. No, that's Dylan. Logan is eighth. Travis is ninth. Luis starts 10th, and Justin Rott will start last. Hoping to salvage at least just something after getting absolutely demolished in the sprint race, going through Corvette Corner and getting his wing literally just like chopped off. There's one known weakness of the AMG, and it's that its wing mount is very easy to just break. And obviously when you do that, the rear wing will just go flying. Doesn't take a whole lot of contact to give somebody 100 rear aero damage in that car. Which can make it a bit of a risk, in an ironic sense. It's not a risk that you'd really think of, like, oh, I risk my rear wing flying off if somebody bumps me, but in sports car racing or touring car racing, you do kind of have to be wary of that sometimes. Hydration obtained. It won't matter, I'll be clearing my throat again in the next 5 minutes anyway. If not sooner. Yep, there it is already. Not even 5 minutes, barely 5 seconds. Field is doubled up as we head towards the scary forest. Over the river and through the woods to the start-finish line we go. Australia versus the UK on the front row, followed by, I believe, well, North America. I don't know where in the United States Matthew's from. I want to say Texas. As we head up the hill, red one gives the signal, and we are green for the feature race here in Road America. Red one gets away cleanly. It's pretty easy to do that, all things considered. Look towards the middle of the pack to see the chaos, if we get more chaos, into one. Not too bad. Door-to-door contact between Hannick and Alonso, though. And a bit of lag with Ramirez in the background. A lot of lag, actually. Dylan's made a fine start, already cleared, well, one car. Never mind, he's trying to get away from Jurgensmeyer on the straight. The Porsche shouldn't have any problems with that, though. I wouldn't think. Jurg must have had the run of a lifetime there. He's going to be able to fight back against Dylan Bam. And speaking of fighting, Matthew Daly is going to take the race lead away from Ridwan, and his teammate is going to follow him straight through. And sideways exiting the track is a Ferrari. There's like 4 of them. I don't know which one spun. It must have been Alonso, but he was able to immediately rejoin and basically just blend back in with society here in this mid-pack-ish area. And by mid-pack, I mean literally everybody except the top 2 cars. There's chaos in the mid to back field here. Around is Justin Rott. His car gave up on the carousel, and at that point, you're just helpless there. There's nothing you can do. You don't have anything. Oh, everybody is off at the kink. Dirty Air is playing absolute spoiler. We are going to be 3 wide of the Canada corner. That's not going to end well. Contact, contact, contact! Destruction! All of the nouns that start with D. I believe lag may have been involved there, but they should not have been 3 wide anyway. Both Goat Inc. cars claimed in that crash, as well as Luis Ramirez. And that is, unsurprisingly, a yellow flag, but it was taken just a second too late to open the pits up, so we gotta do another caution lap. Luckily, we have kept the pace speed at 77. I guess it's supposed to be like 75. I don't even know how to look at that crash, because it kind of seemed like Luis was lagging. Yeah, this is a caution. We just have the pace speeds up a bit higher, because this is a 4-mile-long circuit. And doing 60 miles an hour around here would literally take like 5 minutes. Oh, they did let the cars in the back pit. Weird. I guess I don't know where it was called. Obviously, I can't hear them. Yeah, should I just do the sponsors here? I feel like I'm gonna have the time for that. I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of why I'm like confused. Like, is this were they open? I wonder if it was just a thing of like decided on by all of the leading cars that we don't have to pick because we're not going to be able to serve the mandatory. But all of the cars that got wrecked there can pit because they got wrecked there, and will just continue as normal. I'll judge it off of if I see anybody pitting on lap 3. Because that'll be the telltale sign if we're doing 1 lap or 2 laps of cautions. We're back to 60 because I think we're waiting for the cars that pit, as apparently Juergensmeyer had an absolute metric load of damage. Metric or Imperial, he had a load of damage. That car got absolutely destroyed. I don't know if he can even get back in time, even if they're doing 60. They might have to do the pit limiter or just go without him. He's still 20-some seconds behind the field. He's only in the carousel while we're up to Canada. Might have him just go a second lap. Oh, we're green. I was looking at Messenger. Crap. All right, so no sponsorship. Only green flag. Matthew Daly takes us across the line. We're green again. No sponsorship. Only green flag. That is the sentence of all time. AJ is pretty close to his teammate here. Also, too wide in the back between 2 Porsche drivers. DIVEBOMB on the come up pretty quickly here, already into the podium spots. He's obviously found something in that Porsche. I don't know where he found it. I don't know what he did, but he's making it listen. But he is having to out-drag Ridwan. Ridwan clearly running lower downforce, which is a solid plan here at Road America. Pretty long straightaways. It was relatively close in the backfield here, but it got settled before we got to the breaking point. Oh, Luis is around. I saw that out of the corner of the screen, and he scrambles just to get off the circuit and out of the way, which he about did, I believe. For a second, I thought we were at caution speeds, but that was just a slow turn. AJ is almost understeering into the grass. That's a huge run on his teammate, though. That is going to be... Or is that a run on his teammate? Actually, they're about evened out here. Oh, into the grass. That run is canceled. No momentum for you, AJ Connected. You're not going to get it this time around. Just rotten P6. Annex back to P4. It's, it's about where he usually runs. Had a bit of a rough sprint, but he's used his reverse grid privileges to decent effect here. Outside of what really can't be helped. Everybody is pretty equidistant at the moment. There's just a little bit of separation between most cars. Enunciate, Riker. AJ Knickel was apparently really just kind of fluctuating between himself and his teammate. And Dylan is creeping up in the background. He lurks. Like a shark in the water. Justin Rott looks like he's got a good run from 2. He's going to have a chance at Ridwan Hamza as we head down the hill here, but that Porsche, he's got that thing set up for straights like nobody's business. I don't know what he's got on that setup. I see AJ trying to take cheeky little peeks at his teammate. And, I mean, they're going to want to be quick about figuring out who's the faster car here because DIVEBOMB is approaching rapidly. He's closed the gap by half a second on this lap, and we're only at the carousel. dirty air is going to be hurting AJ too, but it's not going to be hurting Dylan. Not to mention, being rear engine does have its merits, and running through these high-speed turns, that Porsche is going to be pretty fast. Flat out through the kink, room to spare. That is terrifying. I won't lie, that is terrifying to see that. And now suddenly Dylan Bam has entered the chat. In the background though, there is still quite a contest. Ridwan is holding up a train of cars, including both CLE drivers and also Francisco Alonso, who has a penalty that I don't think counts because that's 30 seconds and that usually is wrong. Justin's on the back foot there. His line got thrown off by Ridwan's, but he's going to be able to stay in his position. Nose to tail to nose. These three cars as we cross the start-finish line again. Too wide, in fact, for fifth place, excuse me. So let's see where this goes. There is a fight also for the lead. Oh, Ridwan's going to get absolutely eaten alive, but that's quite an extension from Justin Rott. I don't know if the game is going to let that one sit. I think Alonso will be making off with this one a little bit. Is he really being allowed to hold that? There's no way. He extended halfway to the Milwaukee Mile, and the game is like, nah. If it's gray, it's okay. And Alonso still takes the peak, but he can't get the braking done. Oh, he's off the track, and this time he doesn't need to be penalized because he's going to lose a lot of ground for that one. Also too wide, Jurgensmeyer into 8th over his former teammate Van Oostendorp. Oh, that's a big error for Matthew Daly. That's not it. He's just... oh, no, he is going to resist his teammate. He is going to hold the car there on the inside, at least for a little while, but he couldn't keep it there for too long. And Dylan Bam is absolutely there. Good lord, I did not know he was that close already. AJ had to lift through the... oh, there's rear end contact, and Matthew Daly is sent spiraling out of control. He manages to hold on to the car, though, crucially. And also hold on to his rear wing. Something that I wish Justin Rott is... or something that I bet Justin Rott wished happened. Speaking of which, Jurgensmeyer will overtake his former teammate, I believe, or former team owner, I should say, at GOAT Inc. Except he is on GOAT Inc. and Justin Rott isn't. That's still a bit of a spaghetti to me, but here we are. Ridwan is just the Australian Minister of Defense. He is being a pain in the butt to everybody that's not Francisco Alonso. He managed to escape. And now Ridwan hits, and I think the pop's fizzing up a little bit. Or soda, excuse me. What happened to Connor? Am I an idiot? I don't remember him being back here. Everybody in the front three is pretty equidistant. But these three are not. Two CLE drivers, both nose to tail, fighting with former Congo line driver Jurgen. He's really been all over the place, hasn't he? That little commentary bit's really just making me realize how many teams Jurgensmeyer has been on, even in his short stay in ARC thus far. Ugh. Just not prepared to meet the mic for that one. Apologies. Travis thought about going down the inside, nothing doing though. Both AMGs incredibly off the track there. That was nearly bad, but you know, we are no GT7. The grass does have enough traction to let you recover a little bit sometimes. Oh, Dylan is there. Oh, this is going to be it. Right at Canada corner. About a 1/10.5 difference. Dylan can go for it if he wants. He does not want, though. Oh, did they just overcook it? Oh, he sure did. Too wide heading up the hill towards the start-finish line. And Dylan is going to fight on the long way around. He's going to clear for the race lead. right before the halfway mark is crossed. Barely keeps the car planted. I saw it on the edge grip there. That looked like it was about to be a goner. AJ will concede that and pit to cover off anything else going on in the future. That was like silk driving right there. Travis pits. Connor follows him in last second. He's even going to get that stop in time. Oh, barely. That must have been right at the buzzer for getting that to the speed limit. That's the word, yes. I was about to say the speed meter. What? That's not even close to the word, Riker. Matthew Daly will attempt to put some pressure on Dylan Bam. What in the heck? Was there a braking board on the track that just got shattered? That was weird. Luckily, braking boards, to my knowledge, can't damage the car, so we don't count that as debris, and we will not have a caution. Oh, very wide. The AMGs have really struggled that corner today. Doesn't matter what team they're on, the AMGs have not liked that turn. He's keeping within a metaphorical DRS range for the most part. Matthew Daly is. It's just going to come down to when does Dylan decide to pit and what does Matthew do in response. If I'm Matthew, I just try and maybe hang in Dylan's slipstream if you can, but if you fall out of it, if you get to like 1.3 back, which is exactly what just happened. If I'm Matthew, I do opposite Dylan right here. If Dylan goes in, stay out. If Dylan doesn't go in, though, I would pit. Dylan doesn't pit. Matthew doesn't either, though. So, I mean, I guess what do I know? And now, wow, the field is pretty spread. I'm not gonna lie. Fourth place, Justin Rod is the only person close to... And, oh, around goes Francisco Alonso. So on the map, the dot abruptly stopped moving. That explains how he's lost his place to these two cars. He's having some problems with traction. Pretty rare for the Ferrari of all cars to have that problem. That's like the most stable thing on the track, other than McLaren's. And now it is just a waiting game. We just have to wait and see how the pit stops, shake out. Francisco Alonso's taking his, now that his car has taken a few more war scars. I should go on board with AJ as he attempts to make the most of his completely clear track. He is all on his own, and he is also using all of the track, and then some. Matthew must have spun recently. He's now down to 9 seconds behind Dylan Bam. He's now closer to being caught by Jurg than he is to putting pressure on the Porsche driver. More pit cycles are happening. Francisco's pit stop has taken approximately 7 minutes, by the looks of things. Alonso emerges just ahead of Luis Ramirez. You can't keep putting L's and R's next to each other in words and names, man. That's not fair. Dylan Bam will pit in here, and Matthew Daly will follow him right through. Jurg does not pit, Justin Rott does, so Jurgensmeyer will inherit the race lead for the time being. But the real one to watch is where AJ is in relation to those two. Has the undercut or short pit, benefited him, or has it just given Dylan Bam a bigger advantage? Cresting the hill. Oh yeah, AJ's gonna have the lead here, as Dylan can't even get on the accelerator yet, and here comes the Canadian driver, passing his teammate, passing Dylan, and well clear by the exit. But now Dylan does have the fresher tires, and he's been proven to have a faster car, so we are not done yet. We've had a retirement. Logan Cool has retired the car for unknown reasons, possibly just being so far out of the battle that he just didn't even see a point. I don't know. Jurgensmeyer, I think, is like the last car to not pit on the track. And he should be able to emerge from the pits probably just ahead of or just behind Matthew Daly in third or fourth or fifth. Well, it took a bit of a slide, but Dylan was ready for it. I suppose there is a sort of, in a cosmic sense, if you drive a Porsche, you know it's going to oversteer, you can, predict it and drive accordingly. Oversteer in itself isn't inherently the problem. The problem can often be the fact that you don't know when it's going to happen. It's like a surprise. It only works if you don't know it's going to happen. If you know that you're going to get surprised. I have retired the... Almost heard that on the stream. But if you know the oversteer is coming, you can use it. And oh boy, Dylan Bam is using it. Using it to get right up to the back of that AMG of AJ Knickel. Finally, a worthy opponent. Their battle will hopefully be legendary. If Dylan Bam can keep himself from spinning. And I think we're looking at the classic handling versus power debate, because I know the Champ Inc. Porsches are set up for cornering, which means he can do stuff like that. Oh, he's gotten loose, though. Keep it off the wall. He kept it off the wall, but he also kept his foot in it. A bit of dirt track racing there from the Porsche driver. They used to have Safari Porsches, so, there's a little bit of that, too, in them. Not much, and certainly not in any recent years. But it can be done. Oh, more curbs. Both of them affected. Oh, there's the wall this time. He couldn't escape. The magnet curbs have claimed Dylan Bam. I guess I didn't technically commentators curse him. I said he has to avoid spinning out. He has not spun out. He just hit a wall at a pretty high speed, and I can now see that the damage is starting to pile up on his straight line performance a little bit. Which, when your opponent is an AMG GT3, you need every ounce of straight line speed you can possibly have. So that does not bode too well. But it remains to be seen if that's the final countdown. More oversteer. Oh no, it's happening again. It's the Champ Incorporated flowchart. Now Dylan, I think, it's not help. Dylan's trying to push to get back to AJ. Probably also happens that his tire pressures might have gotten switched around. I can't read that whole message. It's not long. It's too long to fit on the little pop-up. My reaction was just increasingly loud levels of the word contact. Ramirez has retired the car, so even as Dylan Bam smacks the wall and gets massively sideways, it could always be worse. He's still facing the right way, and he hasn't completely lost the plot against the net race leader. He's about to take the race lead back as Jurgensmeyer finally accepts his fate and pits, being the last driver to complete his mandatory stop as far as I remember. And he will unsurprisingly not be the leader on the way out. He won't be too far away, but he won't be close either. Actually, no, he will be pretty far away. He'll be more in in contention with Daly for the bottom spot on the podium than anything else. And he won't even be that close to that either. He's going to be back with Justin Rott, actually. As here comes that Mercedes driver down the front stretch. He's going to be right there with them. But Jurek will remain in fourth. I can't count, and I can't read it either, apparently. I do leaderboards good. But he is going to be in some danger because that AMG is, well, it's got a straightaway to use here. Travis Van Oostendorp retires the car. Road America, both in IndyCar and here, putting up pretty high levels of attrition. It just seems to be a commonality with it here. All the momentum, but nowhere to take it for Justin Rott. Dylan Bam is still hanging. Oh, that's a big, wide moment for AJ Knickel. There is your invitation, Dylan. Don't screw it up a second time. And he's going to get a better run through the carousel, for he is rear-engined. No, not the kink. You wait. Don't do that. Nothing for Canada Corner, though. He's not close enough. Oh, I choked to death in the background. He got the mic muted this time. But it's this weird section. It's like the most random place for Dylan to just gain a boatload of time on AJ Knickel, but it's getting him close every time. On exit, Dylan has the exit advantage. The overspeed, but that Mercedes. What? That Mercedes is gonna make up the deficit on the straight with just more horsepower. Can it make it up enough, though? Can Dylan send an aggressive move on the outside? Not if AJ covers it off. No. Bit of guessing game with the gearbox, though. Dylan is just trying to just force AJ into an error. He will probe for all of the weaknesses on that AMG driver, but he's not finding much just yet. Meanwhile, Connor Hannick, who I honestly forgot about in this race, he's now on the back of Justin Rott. Dylan Bam's still trying to find something. He's got to use the corners, and he's got to get away. He's got to like pass like here somehow and use the carousel to make his escape, because the AMG is just going to run him down if he gets ahead of him on any corner before a long straightaway, and then it's just going to be pointless. This battle's still relatively close. But I also want to keep our eyes on the battle for the lead, because they're the leaders, duh. Oh, catches the curb, the magnet curbs of Road America. I hate them. They ruin this track completely. Because there isn't a lot of runoff outside of them. And so you have to use them, but using them is an active detriment to your car. Tries the cutback. AJ's forced on a defensive line. Sells a nothing move. Cuts back again, but now we're on a straightaway, and he's not going anywhere now. It's a drag race up the hill, and the Porsche seems to have a bit of pull in the lower gears, but then the downforce that he has put on his car catches up to him. And so does AJ's car. Apparently not, though. I guess the downforce didn't mean enough this time, and Dylan Bam is back into the race lead with just under 2 laps of racing left. And now, it becomes the difficult part. He has to stay there. He has to do a lap and change with no more major errors. Because AJ's still right there. He will capitalize. He's been doing so pretty consistently. Especially at Dylan's expense in recent memory. Oh, huge slide, but Dylan hangs on. And that forces AJ to retreat a little bit because he has to let off to not destroy him. Connor also looking for a move. He's not going to find anything there, though. He's going to brake conservatively and wait for later. This is where Dylan's going to make his time, though. The carousel, the run through the carousel. 10 miles an hour higher apex speed than Kinnickle. You're really taking a defensive stance? Just take it normally. You can take it flat in that thing, almost. Or you can't. They're both wide. Track limits are getting absolutely chucked out the window at the moment. As we get near the final lap of contest here. Of competition. Actually, I think the final lap of contest is technically grammatically right. And like some weird, right, like some weird headspace, I don't know. Final lap for the two race leaders, and likewise final lap for the other battle happening on the track. Actually, there's two other battles happening. Francisco Alonso, who's had a race to forget here, he's getting a little closer to Ridwan, but it might be a day late and $1 short for them back there. He's not that close. In spite of what the intervals are trying to say, that they're 2.5 tenths apart, they're like a second and 2 tenths apart. Still nothing doing at turn. Oh, that was super close to a dramatic contact. That would have really shaken the earth right there if that was a big enough hit. We managed to remain unscathed somehow. Running out of turns here, Kinnickle. Might be a Dylan Bam sweep unless the Kink and the Canada have something to say about it. Because Dylan's been pretty solid in the carousel every lap that I've seen. Even as the shadows make it hard to even see where the road ends and the grass begins, as evidenced by AJ. Apparently doing a bit of dagger going on here, although it's not sand. And that's basically sealed the deal for the Porsche of Dylan Bam. Nearly 9 tenths back is Kinnickle. This is a break for Canada. I think that's gonna do it. And Hannick could not find any answer. Oh, that doesn't sound right. Alonso is off the track by miles at the hairpin. Oh, there's been contact. Ridwan also off the track. But Dylan Bam, surprisingly, will stay on the track. And although it's going to be close at the line, I think it is safely in Champ Inc.'s court. Dylan Bam sweeping Road America. And AJ Kinnickle gets a very close second. And then a very not-so-close P3 will be granted to Matthew Daly. So 2-3 for 44R. Considering the first 6 races that they had, really not a whole lot to complain about for them. And Jurgensmeyer, with the patented Riker technique of just keep the car on the road, will claim 4th place. Connor Hannick will come home in P5. He has ousted Justin Rott or something or other, who himself will come home in 6th place. And I believe is his first run in the AMG, having driven Ferraris in the other rounds he's appeared in so far. Francisco Alonso, it's not been a great week in comparison to where he was at Daytona on the podium, but man, he has survived somehow. Car's looking a little worse for wear. Clearly that Ferrari has not survived by much. And Ridwan is out of fuel, and he will claim an 8th position. Because, I mean, he's close enough. I think we count that. And now I must expand the party to... That's not the party screen. Send in the clowns for a very, very long interview session. I'm not looking forward to it. It's no secret I don't like interviews. I think I've said this before. We have like 5 different podium finishers today, I think. No, 4. Because it's...
Interview me first. I want to go.
somewhere to be.
Yes, I do.
Well, I guess we're just waiting for the 2 to get here anyway, then I guess we will just do that.
Awesome.
The Empire has fallen.
Okay.
I feel like I just have to point that out, but yeah, you didn't have, you lacked something. I know. First thing I noticed was what was wrong with the qualifying? What didn't really connect there?
Well, I just couldn't get it. My first lap was just kind of It was like, this is a decent banker. I made a pretty big mistake, but it was like, at least it put me on the board. So I went back around to do my second lap, and then I got this and next lap will be invalidated because I went a little off in Canada corner. I didn't think much of it, but then it invalidated. So I was like, oh shit. So I went back to the pit and came back out, and I missed the line by like 2 seconds. So the only time I set was my one with a really big mistake, which kind of sucks, but you know, we still recovered pretty well in the sprint, and the feature was definitely more of what we could do.
And and that's for the other question. Now that difference maker other than just track position, I observed that it was mostly the kink in the carousel that you were losing to Dylan. Would you say that that's an accurate description of the difference maker this week?
I would say, yeah, like in the 90s, I felt like I was even with Dylan, and on the straights, I even had a leg up. Though I was a little surprised he passed me on the straight. I think on the left side, there's like a little bit less of a gradient or something, and he just kind of gapped me, which was surprising because the opposite lap, it was the other way, and I gapped him, so I don't really know what was going on there. But yeah, the carousel and the kink, we were lacking a bit of downforce on the nose, I think. Probably needed a bit more through that section. You know, things to learn for next week and the weeks after. We're going into some Porsche dominant tracks like Sugo and stuff, so these could be these next couple of races now that Dylan seems to have found a car that works for him. Could be a slog for us, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with this race all in all.
So considering the way your season started, second and third really is nothing to be upset about, really. I mean, you could be upset about it. I'm sure you probably are.
Yeah,
but...
I mean, I was hoping to go for 8 tonight, but, you know, it doesn't always work out like that. I'm grateful we got 6 in a row. And, yeah, we'll go on to Sugo and the other tracks and hopefully get back to the front. I'm trying to get to at least the same amount of wins we had last year, and we'll try and equal that or do better.
Since you have a hot date or something, and we'll conclude our broadcast, our interview. No, we're not done yet, Riker. You wish. Move on to third. Well, we'll just do it in the finishing order here, since the top 4 here got the podium in the sprint. Jurgensmeyer is here. It didn't tell me that he joined, but he is here, I guess. Podiumed in the sprint and 4th in the feature in what I refer to as the patented Riker technique of staying on the racetrack. With chaos around you, I remember you being involved with the crash at Canada Corner in this feature race. It was, what did that look like on your perspective? Because it was just utter incomprehensible chaos from the point of view of the broadcast to me. Jerkinspire.
That's not Jared Riker, that's Maddie.
Well, they're both supposed to be in here, because Jurg is on the podium. So I guess either he just doesn't want to, or he doesn't get the memo. Okay, I guess we'll do Matthew Daly then. Kind of in the same boat as what I described Jurg as. I also see Matthew's mic is turned off, so that's a little awkward. Unless he's just trying to avoid making... No. I guess just trying to avoid background noise then. Okay, that was just awkward. I guess I can't really get your input on that crash because you weren't in it. I do remember you being close enough, probably at the start of the sprint, to see the crash that took Francisco Alonso off the circuit. Oh, now he's here. Gosh darn it.
My bad.
Grr! I've been inconvenienced. Okay, I'm finishing Matthews first because we're already in the middle of that. I believe you were in some position to see what happened to on lap 1, turn 1 of the sprint that took most people out. I know there are like 2 isolated crashes, the first one at turn 1 and the second heading down the hill. What were you able to observe from all of that there? Because the trackside cameras were kind of looking at a hill for some reason.
I was focused on not spinning the car in the first corner, but I saw something happen to the left. No idea what, and then I saw in my rear view somebody spinning around behind me. That was it.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Maybe your guys' the answer for you that you're looking for.
Yeah, because the only other question I was going to ask was answered by AJ, and that was just the difference in setup between yours and what Dylan gained over your AMGs. So the question I originally asked Jurg, I know he was witness to or involved in multiple crashes this week. The big one that I think of immediately is that crash at Canada Corner. Looked like just absolute chaos and a bit of lag to me, but maybe you as a person in the crash saw a different outcome there.
Well, I was just having a good battle with my buddy Logan, and then two cars come steaming in my mirror, and then I'm in the wall. So I don't know what happened, but I know the result of it. It's about it.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen a car find the outside wall of Canada. That's for sure. I guess I might as well ask you about lap 1, turn 1 and down the hill. Were you able to see what happened to your teammate there, and or the connection the AMGs made that collected Gabe along the way?
Well, I know Travis stinks, so he broke way too late and hit Paco, and that's what killed him. Besides that, I don't really know because I was ahead of everyone else besides Dylan, so that's all I got.
Wow, alright. I thought I was bad at asking questions. These interviews are revolutionary. And then I think I know your strategy to get to how you got to the podium with the sprint race. Was it really just as simple as just keeping it on the racetrack, or was there a little more to that I just didn't catch on to?
It was, I don't know. I started with good track position because I was up there at second, and then I was quicker than everyone behind me, and besides AJ, but AJ was back in traffic, so it was just doing enough to hold him off, and I did that. Another lap, and he probably would have passed me, but he didn't.
He did, yeah. Well, these insightful interviews move on to our sweeping champion of Road America, Dylan Bam. I believe, North Dakota native, so Midwest home track advantage had to have played some role there, I would say.
Yeah, very much. This is like the only road course in the world I have the privilege of saying I've been to in person. So yeah, I mean that helps.
Yeah,
having
same here.
seen this. Yeah, awesome. But yeah, no. Got to shout out Porsche for making an actual race car for us to drive. Yeah, we were not about to go and move to the Alpha spec Lamborghini. We were done playing Alphabet Soup with the design iterations. So yeah, we scrapped it and moved on. And hey, it worked, so clearly we must be onto something. And well, let's look to repeat that next week at Sugo.
And I noted it with AJ. He seemed to agree was setup tuned for those high-speed turns, or are you trying to find some top speed in there somewhere along the way?
Truth be told, I have no idea what this setup is even designed for. You're gonna have to ask me from like Porsche Cup on that one, but because I just copied the setup and didn't change it because it felt amazing. So like I'm very satisfied and very much enjoying this car. Yeah, and hopefully we should be even better at Sugo, more corners. Yeah.
Also, Logan talking mad trash in the chat about being the only driver on your team to not destroy a Lamborghini with a skill issue, so, or formerly on your team. But, yeah, interested to see the other side of the Volkswagen Auto Group. You can somehow drag that to, like, at least second points. It might be hard to make up the full deficit since you kind of messed around and found out in the first 6 races, but you should. I think if you keep this pace going, you'll be able to recover pretty high up the standings by the time we're done here. But with that, we wrap up today's broadcast. And gratitude to our dedicated viewers, even though Luke and Logan are like the only ones really watching. And equally so to our sponsors that have made this race possible, i.e., DIVEBOMB Motorsports, ARC's premier title sponsor, basically. The collaborative new media project written by motorsports fans. I still need to figure out what new media means. SLP, SimLeaguePro.com, ARC's league management partner. Their forums allow us to organize the dozens of leagues that ARC runs, and they can help you organize your own if you want to. Sim Wrap Market, iRacing's marketplace for professional level livery designs and templates, among other things, for your sim racing livery needs. IMB Racewear, who is in fact the title sponsor of our iRacing series, ARC's sim racing apparel sponsor, selling sim racing gloves and boots for holding those racing wheels and pedals. The Racing Rats, ARC's Assetto Corsa mod partners, putting out high quality free mods and allowing us to make the Assetto Corsa series what they are. And finally, both to James McAdam Photography and AJ Kinnickle Design, our photography and design partners that our photography and graphic design partners, that make our social media posts stick out from the pack. But that is it from me. As the action on track ends, this has been another ARC broadcast. Next week is Sugo, as has been mentioned, so we will be heading to Asia, having concluded our North America's tour. That'll be next Monday.